Hey, if you're watching this, you're looking for information on activity 3.A.1, uh, also called the biology paragraph. We have to type a two-paragraph response to the following items, and the following items are A, what is biology? B, explain briefly one important idea in biology, and C, describe one way that studying living things has an impact on your present or can have an impact on your future. Um, You're going to divide this into two different essays. I'm sorry, two different paragraphs. I'll put the first paragraph in green. Your first paragraph should have information that satisfies these two items. Uh, what is biology? And briefly explain one idea in biology. And your second paragraph should describe one way that studying living things has an impact on your present or can have an impact on your future. Um, We don't really need to define what biology is, you probably already know that, but I will talk about how to explain briefly one idea in biology. Um, First, um, you want to transition from A, meaning if biology is the study of life, you need to think of a sentence that says why whatever you're going to talk about is important to living things or the study of life. Um, so you could do that, for example, by saying biology is the study of life. Um, Cells are the smallest thing that could be considered alive. That would be a good transition. Um, when you're explaining briefly one important idea, um, you want to say what you're explaining. So you want to talk about define briefly whatever that idea is. So if it's the theory of evolution, for example, you want to explain that the theory of evolution explains how all the living things that we see today came from previous living things that no longer exist. Then you want to give one or two examples that illustrate whatever the concept is. Again, for evolution, you could say that um, humans and humans are descended from a relative. I'm sorry, humans are descended from an animal that looked like us, but necessarily wouldn't be called human. It kind of looked somewhat like a human crossed with an ape because apes and humans are both descended from the same thing. Um, or you could talk about, for example, how whales, their ancestors originally um, lived on land and then transitioned slowly into living in the sea until whales can no longer live on land because their ancestors have lived in the sea for so long. You could also talk about the implications of whatever your idea is. That could mean uh, what is that? How does that affect how you think about life, or how does this affect how we understand the world? This idea that you're describing, um, or you could just think of another example that illustrates um, the idea you decided to talk about. Okay, so now let's talk about the second paragraph. Describe one way that studying living things has an impact on your future or your present. Um, Here you want to think of uh, one way, I'm sorry, obviously one way, um, that biology has an impact on you, and you want to start your paragraph by making a statement, by saying something like biology affects me in this way, and then present one or two sentences that uh, argue for the statement that you just made. So, for example, I could say that biology helps me understand um, where my ancestors came from through the study of genetics. And then I would say one or two sentences that support what I just said. Like, for example, I know that my ancestors came from Jamaica because of the DNA that I carry in my body is similar to people from Jamaica. Uh, so that gives me an understanding of where my ancestors came from. and it makes me feel more connected to um, that country in a way that I didn't feel before I had somebody analyze my DNA. Obviously, I'm not Jamaican, so you can't use that in your essay unless you plan never to meet an assessor, and they'll never know whether you're Jamaican or not. Or if you're Jamaican, go ahead and use that. Okay, I'm gonna put videos also. Hopefully, you've seen them pop up already. That will explain each idea. Um, and as always, if you want more information, you can always go back to our website, which is JVS period edublogs.org. Um, Tons of videos and information there. Okay, good luck.